It is 11 o'clock. It's hour number 2 of Three Man Front. Happy Portal Monday, Black Monday in the NFL. Pete Carroll looking for a job.
Is he?
I don't know if he is or not. He's 74 years old. I think he's probably, he still looks good to be 74.
Yeah, he does.
Looks great. Well, he doesn't have a job. Raiders fired him this morning. Kevin Stefanski, he is fired at the Cleveland Browns. Atlanta Falcons looking for a head coach. Not sure if Kalen DeBoer name's been mentioned yet on Atlanta radio stations.
Stop it. Sarkisian.
Think it's Sark?
Yeah, Sark.
Sark was there, remember? He was there and called plays for 1 year for the Falcons.
Kirby politely said no. Sark said, let's talk more.
Now that would be a domino if Kirby said, hey, I'll take it.
Schumann or Lanning?
Oh, you got to call Lanning.
Got to call Lanning.
Yeah.
Then Kalen goes to Oregon.
Or maybe they call Lane. Maybe the paperwork's not been officially certified yet by the governor of Louisiana. I don't know. Let's ask our next guest if Kalen DeBoer is the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. He covers Alabama. Nick Kelly joins us. Nick, we haven't had a Kalen DeBoer rumor in the last few days.
Join in the fun, Nick. Come on.
I thought we'd create one here on the show.
Gosh, I shouldn't be shocked that it found its way into the discourse, but I'm not awake enough. Yeah, I need more coffee and before I'm going to start entertaining that stuff. There's too much going on with the portal right now. We've talked enough about Kalen DeBoer the last, month?
Yes,
so.
yes, yeah. If someone had access to our text messages, yes, they would see how much we've actually talked about Kalen DeBoer. All right, you reported yesterday. I want to get right to the Ty Simpson situation. For those that did not see it, you had this on AL.com yesterday. Kind of give us the lay of the land of what the very latest is with Ty Simpson and potentially his decision whether he wants to stick around or go to the NFL.
Yeah, it is a decision that is being made. It's in the process of being made, I should say. It's something where he said post-game that he hadn't made a decision, he hadn't thought about it, and his actions since then have indicated as much. So over the weekend, he had meetings with Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer. I think they went well. I think those were productive meetings. And then this week, he's talking to people that can kind of help him figure out what kind of NFL future or just NFL draft future he would have if he declared, and trying to help inform his decision as much as possible. So those discussions are ongoing today, tomorrow, and I think by the end of the week, and maybe earlier, we should have a decision from Ty Simpson.
What kind of spot does this potentially put Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, and that offensive staff in if Ty Simpson comes back and says, you know what, I'm dead set on running this thing back. Let's do it. Let's do it one more time. What then happens, do you believe, in the thought process?
Yeah, it's a good question because it creates a definite pickle that they would not be in if he goes out for the draft. So, yeah, what does happen? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of too soon to see or predict, just because there's going to be a domino effect or ripple effect. But I do know that Alabama wants him back. I mean, the door is open to that. I mean, he's an experienced quarterback. And I think that one thing that people forget in college football is, yeah, you can have a uber talented, high ceiling guy, but experience matters. I mean, playing quarterback takes everything from making checks, making protection changes, and just also know how to read a defense. Like, experience is valuable. And to have a guy come back who's played a full season and played well when he was healthy, that's something you want. And so, yeah, it'd be complicated. It would make things complicated, but I think you'd like a proven commodity if you can have it. And I think that Alabama, the door is open for him to come back. So, yeah, where does that leave Keelan Russell? I mean, I think Austin Mack, if Ty Simpson is coming back, is definitely not going to be staying because he's been sitting for 3 years waiting for his opportunity. I don't think he's going to want to wait a fourth year to not play. I think he's going to want an opportunity to start. So you'd have that ripple effect. And, yeah, what happens with Keelan Russell? To be honest, I don't know. I think that Keelan is willing to be patient, but how patient, I'm not sure. I do think that if this was, say, a similar situation for Keelan as it is Austin, where he's sat for 2 years or he's sat for 3 years, like, yeah, he'd want to go somewhere else, but he might be willing to wait and develop for one more year and go from there. So it's going to be fascinating if Ty does come back. But at this point, I still think that him going out for the draft is probably the most likely outcome. But if he comes back, it'll get really interesting.
Not that money would be the driving force in factoring and being the main factor in Ty Simpson's decision, but just curious, what have you heard as far as his value if he were to explore the transfer portal market and look at some other institutions that are desperate for an experienced, really good quarterback?
Oh yeah, I have no doubt that he could get a multi-million-dollar offer from another school. I still think that entering the portal is the least likely of the three outcomes, but you can never rule anything out in this day and age. So yeah, I have no doubt that he would receive significant interest, and he would also get a lot of money if he did that. But I think Ty is smart, and I think he knows that he's playing the long game. He's not playing the short game. Like he's got other paydays ahead. But at the same time, like for him to stay at Alabama, like he's not going to just stay for pennies. So I do think that he knows that there's value out there for him if he wants to pursue that. But I still think that it's most likely Alabama or goes to the draft.
All right, so whoever the quarterback is, whether it's him, whether it's Russell, whether it's Mack, they need an offensive line because you got Parker Brailsford. He declares for the NFL draft this morning. That is not a big surprise, but it was a surprise to some folks that Wilkin Formby went into the transfer portal. He has a do not contact tag on his entry. A lot of people, a lot of scuttlebutt that he might end up at another SEC school. So from an offensive line standpoint, where does Alabama turn? Because it appears that that is an area of need all of a sudden at that offensive line position.
Yeah, no doubt. It was going to be that way whether Wilkin is back or not, because Caden Proctor, he hasn't made his decision public yet, but to me, I'll be surprised if he doesn't go out for the draft. So with him gone, most likely, and again, who knows, while I'm on this call with you, he might make his decision known. But with him potentially gone, with Brailsford gone, and then also you have the three interior guys who saw their eligibility expire, you're already going to have a pretty much revamped and new look offensive line. So to me, it's not that, oh man, Wilkin Formby departing totally resets everything. I think if he was staying, that he was going to be a guy competing for snaps who has some experience, but I don't think that his departure specifically is that indication of change. So yeah, I think that, but yeah, he is gone. I think that you got to go get some experienced guys, get some guys who with some potential. I would say maybe if you can get guys who have upside, but maybe haven't become that top portal player, because those guys are going to cost a lot of money, and you got to fill several spots in that O line. So if you can get some guys who have some high pedigree, some good upside, you think you can coach up, bring them in. And to me, you need to just get guys. I mean, they need numbers at this point because they've seen so many guys go in the portal. And I don't know that those are bad losses. I mean, a lot of them didn't inspire much confidence in me, but I do think that, I mean, yeah, you have to backfill. Like, you still need bodies in that room. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I'm optimistic. Jackson Lloyd, Michael Carroll, I think are two really good prospects who have high ceilings for that offensive line. And we'll see kind of how they fill in the rest.
Not that you want to say, or I'm asking you to say specific names or position groups, but of the guys that are committed right now, the guys that are not in the transfer portal, how many more could we potentially see that would matter to Alabama fans?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I don't have a great read on like everybody. I mean, that's
right.
It's hard to keep tabs on every single guy. I would say that defensively, I'm not expecting any big names based on people I've talked to in the building. I mean, it just doesn't. It seems like they're in a pretty good spot. The back end, I think, is in a good spot in terms of keeping some of those guys intact, which to me is super important because I think your secondary is maybe a strength of that defense and the team. But yeah, offensively, I mean, there's not a whole lot more, to be honest, that can go in the portal per se. I mean, the offensive line, we've went over that. Tight end wise, I mean, Josh Cuevas departed. That was the big one. Or, he lost his eligibility, expired, so he won't be back. And then running back wise, I don't think you're anyone in that room that you're necessarily like, you have to absolutely keep him no matter what. And so, yeah, I think, and then the receiver, Ryan Williams said that, he's not going to go anywhere when I talked to him at the Rose Bowl. So we'll take him at his word. And then, yeah, you look at the other guys they have too. I mean, so far, no indication that there's going to be any big surprises in that room. Isaiah Horton, he could go out for the draft, but yeah, I think he'd be someone you'd want back if you could get him back. So we'll see what happens. I haven't heard specifically of any big ones that they're expecting. I think that Alabama does a pretty good job of keeping a lot of the talent that has produced and has has been something that they want to keep. And so some of these other guys are just a matter of maybe there's a better fit elsewhere, or they want a better opportunity or a different opportunity elsewhere.
Well, you just said it, and I'm not going to repeat the question, but I'm just wanted to clarify. So, the names of like Bray Hubbard or Keon Sabb on the defensive side, from the people you talked to, does it feel like that those guys will be back for 2026 as of right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think draft decisions are being made, but I'm not anticipating either of those guys going in the portal, if that's the question. But
Yes.
I think that yeah, like I think that Bray and Keon, like they both can go out for the draft, and both probably would have decent spots there. But I think they're just trying to make that decision. So I think similar to Ty, I think draft or Alabama is kind of the the most likely outcomes there.
And I guess the same would be for Yanze Pierre, I suppose, in that same group.
Yeah, I think they feel pretty good about keeping him if he doesn't go out for the draft.
Okay. All right.
And as far as staff continuity, Nick, how many potential departures could we see?
Yeah, I think you'll see a couple more. I definitely, I don't want to speculate on names, just different things I've heard, but
Right.
I think there will be at least one or two more. I'd be surprised if there's not. I think at this point, the defensive staff is probably going to stay largely intact. I mean, you can always have things open up to where there's an opportunity elsewhere, but in terms of, yeah, I think that a lot of those guys are in a good spot. Offensively, we could still see a few more changes. That wouldn't surprise me in some of those position coaches. But yeah, we'll see how it turns out.
Not asking for the player, but I know we've already got one tight end who has committed to Alabama out of the portal from Oklahoma State. Do you have a prediction on what position group might be the next one to, I guess, commit to Alabama out of the portal?
Yeah, I'm going to go with either offensive line or running back,
Okay.
just because, in part because of what they have on
What they
campus or they've
need.
had on campus this weekend,
Right.
And what they need, right?
Yeah.
Or linebacker. I mean, you had the Woodson kid from Virginia Tech visiting this weekend, so that wouldn't surprise me if they get that done. And then, yeah, running back wise, I mean, you had Hollywood Smothers come in this weekend, and I think he'd make a lot of sense. The NC State running back transfer,
Hmm.
and then the offensive line. They have a few guys in right now. And they have kind of a fun fact. The Michigan kid, I need to have these
Strayhorn.
names directly in front of me. So yeah,
Caden
Strayhorn,
Strayhorn.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've just seen so many different names. I'm having
I
trouble keeping them
understand.
straight. The that time of year, but yeah. Fun fact with him: his dad played for Nick Saban at Michigan State
I did
back
not
in
know
the late
that.
'90s.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was a first team All Big Ten center for Nick Saban at Michigan State. So kind of a fun little connection there. And he played at IMG with Michael Carroll, so another potential IMG offensive lineman
Um,
that's visiting right now. So we'll see what happens, but I think they're certainly trying to backfill the positions where they need it.
I wanted to ask you, since you enjoyed the Chamber of Commerce weather that was the Rose Bowl, and you were able to you were able to consume and watch the Indiana Hoosiers. Being at every Alabama game this year, had Alabama, based on what you saw on the other side of the field, is there a comparable team that you saw Alabama play before the Rose Bowl in regards to the talent and what you saw Indiana?
I mean, to be honest, no. I mean, just the discipline they played with and just how automatic they were, and they just kept coming at you. I remember talking to Nikhai Hill Green in the locker room post game, where he said that I mean, you just couldn't make a mistake against them. I don't think Alabama has faced a team like that all season where you could just not afford any mistake because Indiana would make you pay for it. It would have been fascinating to see Indiana on the ropes, kind of what they would have been like, but they got to play their game the whole time, where they're in control, they stay to this discipline, don't have to make mistakes, and then if you make a mistake, they'll make you pay. I mean, the closest thing would probably be Georgia, but Georgia's not as mistake-free as they maybe were at the prime, Kirby winning two national championships back-to-back time. So Georgia's the closest, but I think Indiana's the best. And seeing them firsthand up close, it was like, yeah, this is the best team in the country.
The story and what Cignetti's been able to do, incredible. And if he wins a title, then the drumbeat for Kurt Cignetti coming to the SEC will get louder and louder as the seasons go on, I guess.
It'll be fascinating. I mean, there's a lot of people who've talked about like, oh, Alabama should have hired Kurt Cignetti. It's like, well, yeah, but
That'd have gone over well at the time.
Yeah.
no, it would not. Like if Alabama hires the James Madison coach, like,
Yeah, they're burning something. Something's getting burned.
I mean, they're not happy with hiring a guy that played for the national championship from Washington.
No. Oh,
I know it's crazy. Just the perspective some people can have, and I get it. I mean, Kurt Cignetti's done a fantastic job and has done. He's been impressive, but hindsight's 2020.
Before we let you go, I wanted to ask you about Alabama basketball. An impressive win against Kentucky to start SEC play. Got a tough one coming up against Vandy, but just overall where this Alabama basketball team is right now.
Yeah, well, first off, there might be a budding Alabama-Vanderbilt rivalry between football and men's basketball with all these good games that are happening. But I think they're in a good spot. I think the biggest thing from that Kentucky game was Noah Williamson stepping up and doing some nice things, and they could use him in that front court. I mean, the back court Alabama has is elite, and they're in a fantastic spot. In the front court, I mean, you've got Aiden Sherrill, but they don't have a whole lot else that you can always count on. I mean, I think there's players with potential, but they could really use a 7-foot Latvian center to help them out there. So, no, I think they're in a good spot. I think Nate Oates has done another nice job with his team, and I think how that front court develops will tell you if this team can really make a run for a national championship.
Will Diego Pavia's mom be at the game Wednesday night?
Who knows? I don't have that answer for you, Pat. I can answer a lot, but that one I don't know.
All right, I understand. All right, we'll get back to the portal. It's Portal Monday. We've already had another NFL coach fired since you've been on, so we're going to let you get off so you can go concentrate on the portal.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks,
Happy
Nick.
New Year. Appreciate it very much. He joined us on the Higginbotham hotline. All of our guests join us on the hotline. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Oh, we've got portal movement. We will get to the latest in the college football transfer portal, how it's affecting here in the SEC and teams locally in this state. Three-man front continues on Jocks.
Great conversation with Nick Kelly. If you missed that with any of the portal updates, you can follow Nick on social media, also his work at al.com. You know, when it comes to protecting your home or business, you need a roofing team that truly abides by quality. And that, of course, is Abide Roofing. Abide Roofing offers tailored roofing solutions for every need, whether it's commercial or your family home. Whatever you got, they deliver custom work that fits your style and your particular situation. And the Abide crew, they're outstanding. They bring their A game every single day. It's always safety first at Abide. They use the latest tools, following the highest standards, keeping your property and their team protected through the process. Their work is built to last. No shortcuts, no compromises, only the best materials, giving you the durability and, of course, the peace of mind of knowing that it was done right the very first time. They're insurance claim masters, and I saw that firsthand. Folks, I was having some issues with my insurance company. I needed a new roof replacement because I had storm damage. And guess what? Abide Roofing and Travis Lloyd, they took care of that. They dealt with my insurance company. I saw it firsthand. Travis was on my roof for over 2 hours with an insurance adjuster, walking the roof, walking the pitch, trying to make sure that I was being represented fully, and they got that taken care of. That's what they do for every customer at Abide Roofing. Customers always come first. So if you're ready to get started, call Abide Roofing today, 205-577-7338, 205-577-7338, or visit their website at abideroof.com.
Transfer portal news, transfer portal Monday in college football continuing. Alex Golish, that staff there at Auburn continuing to try to replenish after a lot of departures from the Hugh Freeze era. They have done so, and a lot of South Florida flavor early. You would expect that, but able to pick up a running back from South Florida and several wide receivers and a tight end. And that's what we have right now without going through the list, Pat. But there's other guys that are on their visits right now, namely quarterback Byron Brown.
I think that should be done soon, right?
Should be done soon. Some of that paperwork. And then you have other guys that have visited. You had an offensive tackle from Oklahoma State. You've had other offensive linemen, Kansas State, and the likes of those guys that have visited, and other defensive linemen like the Corey Sigler I saw where the prediction was, the kid from New Hope, Alabama, that started his career, I think, at West Alabama, played last year and was second team All Sun Belt at Arkansas State. The prediction is that he will join Auburn on the defensive line. So very early on, a lot more movement you would expect from Auburn than you would Alabama. We're keeping our eyes peeled, and there's a lot of SEC schools that are shopping right now, and some of them doing better than others.
They are, absolutely, as it's been fast and furious in regards to what's going on in the transfer portal. I did see where Jalen Mbakwe, the Alabama five-star that went into the transfer portal, if you remember, he came to Alabama as a DB. He also played quarterback in high school, but he was a DB, and then they converted him to wide receiver, that the Georgia Bulldogs are hot and heavy after Mbakwe's services, and Kirby wants to play him as a defender.
Doesn't surprise me.
Which that was his original position at the University of Alabama. So Kirby is hot and heavy. I understand that Ole Miss is also heavily in the mix. So we'll see what happens.
There is, I guess, some good news for, did I say Nebraska? Where Nebraska picked up a guy earlier today, but now I cannot find him.
I did see that.
Trying to help Molly.
Well, we got the Notre Dame quarterback.
Iowa State's transfer offensive lineman, Brendan Black.
That too.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be good.
Go Big Red.
Really good. 10 wins.
I would love double digit wins.
I know you would.
Oh, I would cry.
No, Matt Rule's got that contract. That new contract, right? Wonder how that's going over in Lincoln.
What about game 272 last night in the NFL? Was that not incredible?
It was.
That was awesome. So season 106 of the National Football League comes to a close with a missed field goal. The drama was outstanding. You had the field blessed by a Catholic priest before the game, and you had someone holding up a John 3:16 sign in the end zone when the field goal. So, I mean, holy water on the field and a John 3:16 sign. I mean, up in the end zone. If you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, I mean, why are you shocked that you missed the field goal?
right? I don't know.
I will say
It's
this.
been a fun year in the NFL.
I mean, I know
Interesting.
Aaron Rodgers absolutely missed one of the most wide. I think me and you could have hit that wide open receiver
Yeah,
that he overthrew. But some of those throws, that's why Pittsburgh got him.
of course.
I mean, those were incredible. Only Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that took you back to Green Bay days. Some of the
It
things
did.
that he was able to do.
And Aaron Rodgers knew that he was still fully capable of making those throws. And no, that was a good get in hindsight. Now, that division did not end up the way that I thought it would competitively throughout the season.
No.
It's just a weird year in the NFL.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see what's going to happen to John Harbaugh. No indications that he's going to be fired, but it could be that he wants to change his scenery. He's been the head coach of Baltimore for 18 seasons, 18 years.
Boy, they'd be lying. I would be lining up for John Harbaugh to coach my team if I was in need.
All right, so 4 coaches have been given their pink slips over the last 24 hours. Raheem Morris at Atlanta, Kevin Stefanski this morning at Cleveland, Pete Carroll about an hour ago at Las Vegas, and Jonathan Gannon has just been fired, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals.
Thought we were going to get more Gannon. Another season of Gannon. We were just going through the Arizona coaches in the break.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tougher task than you think.
It really is. So the playoffs are set. Wild card weekend coming up on Saturday. You got the Rams and Panthers, Packers at Bears. That's on Saturday. On Sunday, you got Bills at Jags, 49ers at Eagles, Chargers at Patriots. That's your Sunday night game. And then on Monday Night Football, they'll wrap up wild card weekend as the Texans will be in Pittsburgh taking on the AFC North champion Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers.
The fact that the Panthers are in the playoffs. Weird year in the NFL.
Well, it's the
I like it though.
It's the NFC South.
It is.
I mean, it's
an asterisk.
just
Also,
Somebody had to win.
the Colts, that drop off, their fallout throughout the second half of the season,
Oh,
unreal.
and their coach is coming back. They
Yeah.
announced this morning that he's back.
I blame Phillip Rivers. It's all his fault.
You know, it was funny. Just remind folks the Twitter poll question today, since we are talking about the NFL coaching vacancies.
So it's if the Falcons call DeBoer, should he listen? Simple yes or no question. I don't have the results in front of me, Pat.
Let's see.
Ooh, it's gone up.
Ooh, it has. Okay. What is it now?
Ooh.
It's 59% that he should take the phone call.
Yeah, we're at 60-40 now. that
Oh, you
DeBoer
are?
should
You got
take
it updated?
Well, 59.3.
Oh, okay. Wow. I saw someone on social media, I think they were joking, talking about the Titans should call Brian Kelly. I was like, what? I don't think so. All right, coming up next on Three Man Front, we'll get the Auburn side of things in the transfer portal. Mike Gittens will join the show next on Three Man Front. It is 11:32 on this Reaction Monday. Appreciate you tuning us in. Portal Monday, as we like to call it now. A lot going on, both Alabama and Auburn. We'll hear from Mike Gittens coming up momentarily. If you got a dangerous tree that's leaning over your house or maybe branches blocking your view, call Golston Tree Service today at 205-337-4443. Golston's licensed pros that can handle everything from you, from trimming and pruning to full tree removals, fast, safe, and affordable. Golston Tree Service also offers that very impressive 24-hour emergency storm tree service. So call them today to get started, 205-337-4443.
Our buddy Mike Gittens, Mike G. You can find him there on Twitter or the X. He's also the co-founder and the show host of The War Report, joining us now on Three-Man Front on the Higginbotham Hotline. Happy New Year, Mike. Hope you're doing well. Before we get into transfer portal news, I'd like to get your thoughts on what you've witnessed in the first month or so of new head coach Alex Golesh and his staff and how they operate.
Guys, did he have a task on his hands coming in through the door. It's interesting thinking that the big selling point for the potential coaches in this coaching search was the roster. And keeping the roster together turned out to be maybe a little bit more of a headache than a blessing here with players deciding that they're going to move on. So it's look, man, I think these guys did a phenomenal job with the time that they had trying to get their pitch in to these players. But they were always going to be on a truncated timetable trying to sell a vision for the players that they could buy into in a short amount of time. Now you've got to turn your sights to the portal, and you've got to figure out how to turn the page on the whole retention piece. Now it's about who you can go get and what the identity of this football team is going to be.
I want to go back before we start talking about those pieces that they're adding out of the portal. I want to ask you about Cam Coleman. If you know anything behind the scenes on how those conversations went, because it seems like about a week, 10 days ago, it seemed like everything was in line for Cam Coleman to remain on that Auburn roster. What can you tell us what really happened behind the scenes, and was it an amicable departure in regards to Cam Coleman leaving?
Yeah, I think it was, and I think that they did a good job just putting it out there what their plan for him was. Because, in talking, with his family, I can tell you there was a concern about development under the last staff, and they wanted to hear that piece. Well, look, at the end of the day, this decision for Cam was about football. It was about, hey, you have a limited time at the college level to play football and make your mark. And he gave 2 years to Auburn and did not get the amount of opportunities that a player of his caliber should have gotten. And what do I mean by that? Well, look at the top receivers in the league over the last 4 or 5 years. Those guys average upwards of 75 to 100 targets a year. And you're not getting that at Auburn. There's no. I can't remember the last receiver got even 70 targets at Auburn. So it's about opportunity. And I can tell you a lot of the reports, the overly optimistic reports, I don't know where they were getting that from. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And I think that because people assumed that he wasn't announcing immediately that he was jumping in the portal, that he listened to their pitch and he was, leaning towards staying. But his folks just let him be his own man and make his decision. And they talk about it as a family, but ultimately this decision lied with Cam. And I think at the end of the day, he just made a football one. So, when you say, hey, it seemed like things were set up for him to stay, I think that was more of an illusion created by, certain segments of the media making assumptions that really just weren't there.
He's an elite player. If we take the wide receiver room out, because there have been so many talented guys that have announced for the portal out of Auburn. But Mike, where would be the unexpected, or was there an unexpected, oh gosh, really didn't count on losing him, we're really going to need him next season?
Yeah, I don't know if there were that many. And I've connected with Golesh's staff, a group of guys I got to say that I really like, by the way. These guys are driven, they're hungry, and they understand that there's no path to creating the type of program here on the Plains they want to create without a ton of hard work. And I like that. I think that mantra will carry well in the building here for his staff and with these players as they go out and try to acquire new talent. But Cam and Deuce, I think, were the first players to announce for the portal that they really, really wanted to stay. And it's not to say they didn't want the other guys, but I'm talking about, you guys know that there is a monetary aspect to this. And the rev share deal that they had on the table for Cam Coleman, it would have been like a top 5 or 6 rev share deal in the entire country. Um, Deuce yeah, he reportedly had a deal on the table that would have been one of the top rev share deals for a quarterback in the SEC to potentially ride the bench. So they wanted those guys to stay, and those guys hit the portal. And it was disappointing. But when you're looking at, hey, what players walk out the door that they wanted, that they really really wanted. If you're goalish, you had to be prepared for some level of the exodus that you experienced. You knew it was going to happen. He
Mike,
knows how these relationships work.
yeah. Mike Gittens joins us from the War Report, kind of giving us a lowdown on what's going on in the portal for the Auburn Tigers. Let's talk about the offensive line because Auburn is facing a full rebuild on that offensive line. What are you hearing there? I know Oklahoma State transfer Grant Segrin, Kansas State transfer Devin Vass, James Madison transfer Joseph Simmons. Those are targets right now. But where else do you see Auburn maybe potentially going because that unit needs to be remade?
Right. When you talk about Segrin and Vass, I think there was an old lineman, Johnny Brown III, that they were looking at as well too. There was a strong offensive and defensive line focus to this portal, these portal targets initially, and Golish has. I mean, they understand if you can't win the trenches, you're not going to win games in the SEC. Period. And on all defensive line, they won their fair share of battles. On offensive line, it did not measure up to the level that we were sold in the preseason. This was supposed to be one of the best offensive lines in Auburn in the last 15 years, and I can safely say it didn't pan out that way. So, look, the offensive line is one of those positions I think in the portal where you're not going to find a ton of studs. Right, those guys stay home where they're at a lot, and you may find some good pieces in there that are backups at other programs that are maybe just kind of stuck in the pecking order and want to make the move up to the SEC. Ultimately, it's going to be about talent identification and evaluation for them along the offensive line. In year one, they're going to go have to find some diamonds in the rough. That's the best way I can put it. And then they're going to have to get those guys in the spring, develop those kids, and hopefully they can put together a serviceable line here behind presumably what should be Byron Brown at quarterback, possibly, or whoever else they bring in at quarterback. You have to be able to protect, and they understand that, and that's going to be a major focus for them here over the next 12 days.
Okay, the way you said Byron Brown just there, it might have freaked some Auburn fans out. I know that he has to be recruited by his former staff to the new place, and that being Auburn. I also realize that there's other teams with a lot of money that would love to have a Byron Brown under center. Is this thing signed, sealed, and delivered, or do you think that there still some skepticism surrounding him ending up at Auburn?
Yeah, again, a lot of assumptions that he would be an Auburn Tiger. Obviously, I think Golish would be the leader in the clubhouse. I until it's signed on paper, I don't know Byron Brown. So when you ask me questions about Cam Coleman, I can talk from a certain aspect. I don't know Byron Brown, what drives him. I don't know what he's about. But what I do know is that Golish wants him, and I think he knows what he's about. So if money's not going to be the reason that Byron Brown doesn't come to Auburn, if Golish wants him here, I can't stress that enough. He's got 1 year left to play. He's going to be kind of a bridge guy for you. So they'll do what they need to do because there is a strong let's figure out how to win now mentality in that building. We're not going to sit here and tell you it's going to be a 3-4 year rebuild. We're going to go find the pieces in the portal. We're going to put it together quickly, and we're going to produce a good offense here in 2026. And that starts with having your trigger man. So, I hear what you're saying when you say, "Oh, is Byron not coming?" Like somebody might have heard that in my tone. Until the ink's dry on the paper, I'll feel comfortable saying that it's signed, sealed, and delivered because there's always some factor that we can't account for. And with these, we did a segment on this recently about agents and are they ruining college football. I don't know if they're ruining it, but I don't know how much they're helping it right now because you have a lot of young men who are trying to make these difficult decisions and people with ulterior motives in their ear telling them to do one thing or the other. I can tell you, I've had multiple Auburn players who both decided to come back and hit the portal ask me, Mike, if you were me, what would you do?
Mm.
And my advice to them always is, look, this is part of life, and they haven't been in the workforce yet, guys, so they don't understand that. Like it may seem like it's a football specific thing, but in every walk of life, you've got to walk in, go to a job interview, talk to a boss, and decide whether or not that's an organization you want to work for, or that's a boss you want to work for, or do I believe what this guy is telling me right now? And he says he's going to give me a 10% raise if I kill it at the end of the year. These are just life things that these guys are now experiencing. And if you don't have the right people in your ear, it can really trip you up. So I I I don't know Byram. I don't know who's in his ear right now. What I do trust though is that Golish wants him, and he wants him for a reason. So if that's his guy, I think he knows everything about what that young man needs from a money standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from a character development standpoint, from a growth. He knows Byram. And that is the biggest advantage to Byron Brown coming to Auburn is that he's known to Golish, and Golish will know how to get the best out of him, as not only as a player, but make him into the type of player the Auburn fans can look back a couple of years from now and say, remember when that guy was an Auburn Tiger?
Mike, a couple minutes here on the program. I wanted to ask you about wide receiver Sam Turner. My latest
Mm-hmm.
count, I think 32 Auburn players had either gone into the portal or they have communicated that they will be heading into the portal. But Sam Turner has decided to come out of the portal and stay put. How big is that for the wide receiver room?
I think that the math has changed in there, right? With all the guys that have decided that they're going to hit the portal. And I want to be careful with my words here, but I do think there was maybe a little bit of a reality check with, on the retention part. And Sam Turner is a good player. Now, do I think that he fits necessarily what they're going to want to do offensively? I will see. We'll see what that looks like in the spring. But I'm sure there was a healthy conversation. He had a conversation before he hit the portal. I can tell you that. I feel comfortable disclosing that. And after that conversation, he decided to hit the portal. So there was definitely a subsequent conversation. I think that was probably initiated from their end about him coming back. Look, man. Again, these players all have difficult decisions, guys, about where they want to be in 2026. I don't, Sam Turner, prior to all these other portal announcements by Perry and Cam and Malcolm, I think Bryce Kane just announced that he's coming back. The path to playing time may have seemed very long and arduous like a month ago, but now could he have a big spring and somehow be a guy who's next up on the depth chart in the fall? Yeah, it probably looks a lot different than it did 3 weeks ago when he made the decision or whenever he decided he was going to get in the portal. So I do think that he is extremely talented. And this is one thing Golish said when he got hired was that he feels like their staff is adept at putting a system around the things that the players do well. So if you're bringing Sam Turner back, I want to see, man, can they put him on the field and find a role for him in their offense where he can be a productive guy in the SEC? We saw the work that they did at Tennessee with guys like Jalen Hyatt, and I'm interested to see if we can see a guy emerge like that at Auburn in 2026.
That is Mike Gittens. You can follow his work there at the War Report. Happy New Year, Mike. Always a pleasure to have you on, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon with all this portal business.
Guys, thanks so much for having me. Before I get out here, I just got to tell you, I've done my homework on this coach here. Talked to him a couple times. I think Alex Golish is the hire. I really do. I think he's the hire. And I know there was a lot of smoke around Summerall, but sometimes the coach that you end up with is the right. It may not have looked like they thought it was going to look in the beginning, but I think Auburn got lucky here that Golish ended up being the guy. and I can't wait to see Florida and Auburn square off in September next year. The battle of who they wanted versus who they got, it should be a good one.
We're gonna have all kinds of fun matchups. We got Ole Miss and LSU.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's gonna be
Yeah.
some doozy storylines
No,
for
there's
2026.
no doubt. Hey, Mike, again, Happy New Year. Always appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. That's Mike Gittens. Joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Well, we're in 2026. What does that mean? That means that you're probably thinking about New Year's resolutions, getting healthier. If you're not, think about it right now. Our friends at Mandu in downtown Homewood, it's electrical muscle stimulation fitness, all FDA approved. It doesn't hurt. And the great thing about it, revolutionary approach. It's a 15-minute workout because of the technology. 15 minutes is the equivalent to 6 hours of working out in a gym. You can't beat that. Your first visit is free at Mandu. They will put you through the 15-minute workout. You decide if it's right for you. MANDUU.com. That's the website. And as always, tell Paul and the gang at Mandu that Landrum from Jock sent you.
We will update you what we're hearing in the transfer portal for both Alabama and Auburn. We'll also get back to your phone calls, 1-800-239-WJOX. $11:52 here on Portal Monday. The very latest, the biggest catch so far out of the transfer portal went to Texas Tech University. Brendan Sorsby, I just worry that he's getting $5 million from Texas Tech, but he called Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes and Cody Campbell personally to commit to both of those individuals.
Hey, Cody, thanks for the cash.
Yeah. Cody's like, yeah, it's no problem, son.
Got plenty more where that
They
came
got
from.
plenty of that.
Mhm.
Cam Coleman is supposed to visit Texas Tech in the coming days. Would that be something? You pay Sorsby $5 million, and no telling what you got to pay Cam Coleman. Coleman was in Austin on Saturday. He was at Texas A&M yesterday. Supposed to visit Texas Tech, and he's supposed to be at Alabama later this week. Interesting.
I see where Lane Kiffin is making waves already in the portal.
Yeah, didn't he get a Utah running back?
Racing Gilroy.
I think they recruited him at Ole Miss, if I'm not mistaken.
He spent one season at Utah, made one appearance for the Utes, recording one carry for 4 yards.
So Pete Carroll was fired earlier today for the Oakland Raiders. Well, sorry, Las Vegas Raiders. Sorry, old school.
That's all right.
I wonder if Lane would hire him.
He'd have done better if it was still in Oakland. If Lane would hire him?
Yeah.
Why not? LSU has been known to bring in coaches even past their 80s. Remember when John Robinson?
Yeah, it was Robinson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's who it was. Yep.
He came off of great granddad duty. What was his? What? Wasn't he just an extra set of eyes for Coach O?
I do remember one game he got like barreled over on the sidelines and everyone thought he was dead.
Well, they did.
Well,
I mean, he wasn't.
I mean, he's like 87 years old and he gets nailed by a young, strapping 20-year-old football player. I mean, that would take me and you are out, and we're not 87.
Yeah. Your head's on a swivel the whole time you're on that sideline.
Yeah.
I don't want an ACL. That's my biggest fear.
Did you ever get hit on the sideline? I'm talking about physically hit, not like hit on. I'm talking about like actually like.
Did people ever throw things at you?
Now, I mean, she told us the Iowa story.
I never got hit.
I didn't know if you guys were close enough to where like, you know, a player came out of bounds and they barreled over y'all or something.
I personally never got hit, but there was a girl on my team that got just bonked in the head.
But by a ball or a player?
No, by a ball.
Oh, okay.
I will say a couple times during basketball season, because we would sit on the baseline, I've been stepped on a couple times and we've been fallen on before.
Yeah, I forgot about basketball.
Yeah. That's not as fun. Because football, like you have some room to kind of move around. Basketball, you gotta stay.
Stationary.
Some of those stadiums, though, there's not much room on the sideline.
No.
There's nowhere to run.
We had quite a bit of room.
Like Oklahoma State, that is notoriously bad.
Oklahoma State,
like
it's
no
bad.
sideline.